Hey golfers, in this next video I'm going to show you how to get into the slot on downswing. Keep watching. Hi, it's Troy from headingitsolid.com here. Thanks for watching. So we're talking about how to get into the slot on downswing. So getting into the slot's one of those big buzzwords you've probably heard online with golf instructions, one of these holy grail positions we all want to get into on the downswing, because when you get your club what's called into the slot, you're in a great position to make solid contact with the golf ball. So what does it look like when we're talking about into the slot? So from down the line, this will show it best. If I swing to the top, now as I start my downswing, what you should be trying to do, and this is obviously for a right-hander, and lefties just do the exact opposite. We want to be trying to get that shaft of that club coming somewhere on the same line as that right forearm. It might be a tad sort of above it or a tad under, but usually we'll travel right through that right forearm and then through to the golf ball. Now this will be the same for your driver or an iron, it makes no difference there, but that's getting into the slot. So why do some golfers struggle to get it into the slot? Well, one of them is turning your shoulders. You might be guilty of this, turning your shoulders too quickly in the downswing. Now, you need to turn your shoulders in the downswing and open them up, but if you do it too quickly, you might look something like this. Turn very quickly, and as soon as you do that, the only way to get the club into the slot or shallow is you have to stand up and sort of pull the arms back like that to get on a good path down to the golf ball. So a great way to fix that right off the bat, if your problem is with the shoulder, is feel like when you get to the top, like your back stays to the target just a fraction longer at the start of the downswing. And when you do that, you see it's really easy for me to just drop my arms and get into the right position, whereas if you turn too quickly, it's next to impossible. But if you can keep your back to the target, your shoulders a little bit closed for just a split second longer, it's much easier to get into that slot position. So that's one key. I've got another one coming up. Okay, another key to getting into the slot on downswing, all talks about this right arm in the downswing. So from this position here, those golfers that came down steep with their shoulders moving across like this, their elbow, the right elbow remains very bent. Now we want our arms slightly bent at impact, that's how we get forward shaft lean. But as we're coming down in the downswing, that right arm, it should be straightening. So as we come down, that right arm should be straightening. And you'll notice, if I keep it too bent, I could end up in a really dangerous position here where I've got way too much lag. Then I've got to release it at the last second. But if you can be coming down and just having it straighten slowly, there'll still be some bend in it, you'll find you'll be in a great position. Now the other key with that is, as you're straightening your right arm, that will help shallow it and get it into the slot, you'll be increasing your wrist cock as well. We don't want to be extending our wrists out like that. We want to be increasing that wrist cock. That way we store up that lag, we're shallowing it, getting into the slot, and then we're in that great position on the downswing. So those are two important keys that go together. Now the other one that ties in with all of that is gravity. Now on your downswing, gravity is not something you should be consciously sort of thinking about or trying to do, but it will happen if you do those things right. So if I get to the top, as we're making that downswing, as our hands come down, the gravity element should just drop the club in a nice position. We don't want to be putting too much pressure on the grip and sort of pushing it out there hard. That way the club sort of won't drop naturally. But if you've got a light enough grip pressure, gravity should get it to drop nicely and you'll get into that slot position. So those are some real keys that will really help you out. Another way you can get in the slot on downswing is practicing with a split grip. So grab a club, put two hands on it like this, keep them about that far apart. Now what you're aiming to do make a swing, by having them split apart, you'll be able to feel the club a lot better, and you won't have one hand overtake the other, which is predominantly your stronger hand, which is your right hand for a right-hander. So what you're aiming to do is on your downswing, you want to feel like that right hand is always behind that lead hand in the downswing. If it's always behind it, you'll get into the slot on downswing every time. Whereas if you come in this position, right hand gets past the left hand there, you'll come down too steep. But if you can keep it always behind it, like it is there, you shouldn't have any problems getting into the slot. And this is a great little drill you can practice anywhere base. You don't need to be hitting balls to do that. That will help you get into the slot every time. Here's a simple drill you can practice to help you get into the slot. So grab a club. You don't need to be hitting balls to be doing this. Now what I want you to do is take your lead hand or your left hand for right hand off the club. We're just going to be holding it with one hand to start with. Just choke it down a little bit. And what I want you to do is get in your setup and just make one-handed swings, just feeling the weight of the club head. And you'll find when you do that, it's really easy. Like I'm getting into the slot here doing this without putting any effort into it at all. That's because the right hand's not fighting against the left and overtaking it, and it's just dropping. Club's just dropping naturally. And I'm just able to flick the edge of the grass really easily. Once you've done that a number of times, you've got a great feel for that. Put your other hand on and just do really slow swings. And you'll find it's much easier to get the club into the slot. That's a simple drill you can practice anywhere that will really help you out. Now, super important, I've got coming up a video that talks about the trail shoulder in the downswing, in particular, how you need to externally rotate it. This ties in really well with this video to help you make a great downswing. That video is coming up. I'll see you on it. Do you want to know how to make an even better downswing? Click and watch the video on your screen now. It's going to go into more detail about how the trail shoulder works in the downswing and why you need to externally rotate it. Now this ties in really well with this video to help you make a great downswing. Do you want to know how to play even better golf? Consider subscribing to the channel. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.